Okay, hey guys, this is Dr. Kelly here, and I am going to go over here with Miss Lindsay some proper breathing tools that she can have. Basically understanding the difference between diaphragmatic belly and basically diaphragmatic belly and chest breathing. So which one feels good to her, maybe discuss what's wrong and correct ways of breathing and when to use each one. So first thing I do with my patients is I'm going to have Miss Lindsay put one hand on her chest and one hand on her tummy. And then basically to see where she's at. Is she a chest breather? Is she a diaphragmatic breather or a belly breather? Let's just find out. So Miss Lindsay, take a deep breath in for me. There you go. And out. And then inhale. Good. And exhale. And so if you guys, I'm sure you guys can see, Miss Lindsay's right hand is actually elevating faster than her left hand. So what that tells me is that she is a very good diaphragmatic belly breather, and then at the top of that inhale, she is raising that left arm, is raising that at her chest. So it's not that chest breathing is bad. Obviously it's happening here at the end of her inhale, that deep inhale. But when you're, Lindsay, go ahead and show what it would look like to chest breathe. When you are chest breathing, nothing moves here, and only that left hand of Lindsay's is raising. So that is not really what we want in an ideal world where we're breathing correctly. We want this diaphragmatic into the belly breathing, and then eventually, if we're doing that deep breath, it goes fully into the chest. When do we do that full deep breath? Maybe when we're running and jogging and meditating and just really focusing on task-specific breathing. But most of the time, if we're just doing a regular breath, it should kind of stay around the diaphragm belly area. What tends to happen is we sit at a chair all day and we start to just hold this in and then not let our tummy go and brace. And then the only place we have to breathe is through our neck and shoulders. So that's not what we, and the chest, and so that's not what we want. We do not want to chest breathe like that all day, because then we get the tension and the tightness. So work towards expanding 360 degrees here, then moving the inhale into the belly and finally into the chest. Maybe 5 to 10 reps of breathing like this, and then we can work into other exercises. Something else you can do is put a band around the bottom of your rib cage and feel the expansion 360 degrees around that rib cage as you take that inhale and then exhale. The exhale should typically last about twice as long as the inhale, and you can do it through the nose, depending on what breathing practices you want. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the nose. Either way works, just making sure you're getting that full diaphragmatic breath and that this hand is moving first, so before the left hand. So there's some breathing tips for you. Oh, hey guys, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take Miss Lindsay through some exercises for basically core engagement that that I often give my patients. So basically, when we're breathing naturally, you're going to just feel the core in the diaphragm and everything raise like in a natural way. But when we're trying to engage the core, that's when we're trying to do task-specific things. So the more core engagement you need is dependent on the task at hand. So if you're lifting 400 pounds, you need a pretty dang braced core. But if you're only, standing there, you don't really need a lot of core engagement, only enough to keep you standing still and keeping you from falling. So how does that look to kind of work into bridging the gap between normal breathing and core engagement? So I'm going to have do a little transitional movements for Lindsay into that space. So Lindsay's going to bend her knees, feet flat on the ground, and then you're going to put this hand here and then the obliquely, basically opposite hand, opposite knee pressure. she is not going to be pushing into the right knee very much. It's 10% of your pressure. So it should be, I'm going to demonstrate here, like if I'm resist me, and it's about that much pressure. So literally not even 10%, you would say, of your pressure into this knee with that hand. And you're using your lat muscle, so shoulders out of the ear, and then you're feeling this oblique sling, we call it. So these muscles that go from here to here turn on as you exhale. So you're going to take a deep breath in for me, Lindsay, and then as you exhale, you're going to gently put that pressure into the inside of this right knee. Very nice. Now, as she does that, she should start to feel the bottom of the rib cage kind of naturally going down into the floor, and the rest of the core kind of engaging in a wave-like pattern all the way down to the pelvic floor. So do you feel kind of the sternum and bottom of the rib cage dropping as you exhale? Perfect. And then do you feel a pelvic floor at the bottom a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So this is a really, really good way to just kind of begin to feel what it naturally should feel like for that sternum and bottom of your rib cage to push down into the floor to begin that core engagement that we want when we're starting to breathe while core engaging. And again, the reason we're doing this is so we can learn to breathe properly with that core engagement when we are doing harder activities like lifting weights and doing other task-specific things that include harder working out. So number one thing I do. Now, the next way she can transition would be to go ahead and let your feet come up into the air, and then feet together, and then you're going to push this in, yep, perfect, just like that. And then you're going to match that hand on this side like you're hugging a beach ball. Perfect. So now nothing has changed besides her raising her legs up. It just makes it a little bit harder for the core to engage. So 10% of her weight is going to be pressing into this inner knee, and she's feeling that bottom of the rib cage press down into the floor with her exhale, and those pelvic floor diaphragmatic muscles are stacking right on top of each other when she does that. And perfect. You feel that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now maybe show how to do things that people tend to want to do would be to start to drop the legs. When that happens, lower back pops up, and we don't want that to happen. So because that's going to take your diaphragm and pelvic floor out of parallel. So we want to make sure the knees are bent, the hips are bent above 90, and then feet together, knees apart, and then again you're hugging that beach ball. The other thing that I tend to see people do is, again, their legs get tired and they're arching their back and they're not pressing the ribs down. Yes, just like that. That was a perfect demonstration. That was easy. Okay, so from here, she can just do breathing, but then we can transition into lowering down free opposite knee, leg, and arm. Perfect. With the exhale. So again, maintaining diaphragm and pelvic floor in parallel are the biggest goals here. Hips and ribs stacked, same thing. And she's only going as low as she can without the lower back popping up. And the goal still is the same, dropping the sternum and the bottom of the rib cage down to the floor as she exhales and lowers down. Good. Now, go ahead and do a little sit-up for me. I'm going to put anything, a washcloth folded in half would work, but this is what we had. So we're using this yoga band. We're putting it at the bottom of her rib cage. If she's having trouble feeling the sternum and bottom of the rib cage dropping into the floor, what she can do, let's lower it down just a little bit. Okay, perfect. Does that feel okay to you? Like flat? Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, so then now without the foam roller or with the foam roller she's just going to work on her breathing. Hips a little, there you go, perfect. She's just going to think about pushing into whatever you have at home, something flat, and that might help give you a little more tactile feedback on how to get the core a little bit more engaged. It's really interesting. Now, do you feel a little bit more? Yeah, she, like, it can be a 1/2 inch more that she feels like she's engaging, and that 1/2 inch is huge. And trying to, yeah, you feel a difference already, and it can be that, like I said, so the difference between you finally feeling that shaking in that bottom of the pellet, like the bottom of the core or the pelvic floor, top of the pelvic floor start to work and really engage. So yeah, really feeling this initial part is super important. So now that we've kind of done some progressions into the dying bug or modifications of the dying bug, I want to show a full-on dying bug. So if Miss Lindsay wants to, she can keep the band, yeah, the prop underneath her, the bottom of her rib cage, just to feel that tactile feedback of keeping that core engaged. But we're going to go into the full-on dying bug without the foam roller. So basically, she's going to lower opposite hand, opposite knee like she was doing before. With her exhale, she's going to do this. Very nice. Inhale back up. And exhale, pushing down into that. Yes, very, very nice. Now, she's doing a really good job because she's awesome at this stuff. But I want to show some flaws to this. So maybe don't don't get the sternum as far down as you were just a second ago. See how her lower back's popping up? That's a no-no. And then you can start doing it right again. If your lower back pops up or your hip is popping when you're lowering your leg, you've probably gone too far with the movement, and you need to either not move the leg as far or just be more slower and intentional in the movement with control. So that would
go with the shoulder as well.
You what? Yes, exactly. So a lot of people have tight lats. So if they are elevating, this automatically is going to draw the ribs up with tight lats. So same exact thing. We don't want that. So if we need to stop at about that position, then that's what we're going to do. It does not matter how far down the leg and the arm goes. What matters is that you're maintaining, yes, that bracing, the pelvic floor diaphragm are in parallel to each other. So taking this now, we want to, you know, how is this going to help us when we're working out and say, you know, doing a HIIT workout or air squats or squatting 400 pounds or deadlifting. It matters because we still want to get that pelvic floor diaphragm in parallel. So we've got to get this first though before we can stand you up, because you've got a lot of points of contact right here. She has her whole back on the floor, which is allowing her to kind of maintain that neutral spine naturally. But when we get her on all fours and, you know, eventually in a lunge position and eventually standing, she's not going to have those points of contact of the whole back. So the less point of contacts we have on the ground, the harder it gets to maintain this. So we start here and then we work our way up and bridge that gap between here and standing.